Hello, hello! Welcome back to VBS Event Summaries. So, you know how I said at the end of the previous event that we are now entering the VBS America arc? Well, this time we're really entering the VBS America arc. Time to Take Off is Toya's 5th focus event, running on the JP server from January 11th through the 19th, 2025. That's right, this event directly follows Unfading Wishing, so we really didn't have to wait long in real time for the continuation of the VBS story. This is also the last stop on our stretch of Akitoya events, but don't worry, they're not going very far. Plenty of queerness to go around. Oh, the commission song for this event is Haven. Maybe I'll get into my complicated history with Haven in the outro. Just know I'm not a Haven hater anymore. Okay, let's head off to the US. The day of their departure draws near. I always wondered how VBS was able to take such a long time off from school, since this arc is long, but it looks like they plan their US trip around one of their extended school breaks. That way they're only missing a few days. That's what I figured, but it's good to have it confirmed like this. Anyway, everyone is very, very excited about going to America, and even more excited about seeing what Taiga's event will be like. He's paying for their entire trip, flights and hotel included, so this is probably going to be a really big deal. All of that is leaving An a little bit annoyed. They're supposed to be competitors with Taiga and her father, but right now they're being taken care of like little kids. It just goes to show the gap that's still between them. Many questions still remain, like how Cedric and Slade seem to know that VBS would be visiting America soon, but they just need to focus on what's ahead of them for now. That night, while Toya is finishing up his packing, he gets an unexpected message. Security and all that fun stuff goes smoothly at the airport. Toya made sure to get everyone there and through immigration with plenty of time, so they all look through some guidebooks on tourist attractions in New York to pass the time. They're going to America for the sake of music, but what's a trip abroad without a little sightseeing, right? Toya smiles at how nice it is to be waiting for a flight with people who aren't complete mood killers. That is to say, his family. Speaking of that, when Kohane asks him about any places in particular that Toya might like to visit, he points out the New York Academy of Music. Toya is the youngest child of the Aoyagi family. His oldest brother is a professional musician based in Vienna, and the middle brother is studying music in New York. I'm sure you can connect the dots there, but why would Toya want to go there? It's not like he's particularly close with his brothers. Hell, they even took his father's side when Toya decided to pursue street music. However, the message from the previous night was from Toya's middle brother, Shuji. He asks to call and talk with Toya on the phone. Their mother told Shuji about Toya's upcoming trip to New York. Though unfortunately, Shuji is performing in another state right now and might not be back before Toya leaves the US. So he's taking the opportunity to apologize. All those years ago, when Toya went to his older brother for advice on how to talk to their dad, Shuji didn't listen. He regrets that decision every day. Both he and their oldest brother, Natsuomi, really respect their father. When he heard about Toya's decision to quit classical music, it was like all of the grueling lessons Shuji had endured up until that point was for nothing. All of the Aoyagi boys looked up to their dad and wanted to be like him. Shuji thought Toya would regret running away. In truth, Shuji realized that Toya hadn't run away at all. He found his true passion. Shuji has seen VBS's videos, and it's clear to him how much Toya loves it. If Toya ever needs anything, all he has to do is ask. They may not be able to see each other on this trip, but Toya still wants to see his brother's university. The rest of VBS readily agrees. Now, the gate should be opening soon. Wait a second, Akito does have a point. Isn't Toya afraid of heights? As the group's resident world traveler, how did he get through all of those plane rides as a kid? He just has to keep his eyes shut for the entire flight and he should be okay. Never mind the fact that the flight is over 10 hours. That's what he's always done, so he'll be fine. In theory. The four of them make it to New York mostly okay. Toya got a little curious a few minutes before landing and ended up looking out the window, which made him very, very queasy. He's okay though, it's fine. Taiga's manager picks them up at the airport and takes them over to the hotel. The four of them gawk at the city streets. Even just standing on the sidewalk is enough to solidify what they're doing. It's taking a while for Taiga's manager to sort everything out at the hotel check-in, though. That's not good. They, don't have a reservation. Taiga booked the room for a month from now. God damn it, I knew we shouldn't have trusted him. Apparently, according to An, Taiga used to do this sort of thing all the time. Why on earth would anyone let Taiga handle the hotel booking? So it's going to be Shuji to the rescue. He did tell Toya to ask if he ever needed anything. He probably wasn't expecting the request to come so soon. Well, it's not actually Toya's brother who's giving them a place to stay for the night. It's someone Shuji respects, apparently. His name is Lloyd Hopper, a faculty member at Shuji's university. When he talks, the actual voice acting is in Japanese, but the subtitles are in quotes, meaning that he's speaking English, I think. An comments on catching a few of the words, so I think that's what's happening. Toya handles most of the English conversation, though. Lloyd looks to be about the same age as Toya's dad, and the name is definitely familiar to everyone in VBS. So he just so happens to be one of the most famous jazz pianists in the world. No big deal. Just wrote the score for a really famous movie that won a bunch of awards in, literally every country ever. That's cool. And now he's letting VBS stay in one of the dorms for the night. Oh my god, this is kind of hilarious. Unexpectedly, Lloyd compares Toya to his father. Apparently, Toya looks similar to how Harumichi did when he was younger. I'm sure that's a very conflicting sentence to hear for Toya. Lloyd and Harumichi were classmates for a time while Harumichi studied abroad in New York in college. Small world, huh? The next morning, VBS has breakfast at the school dining hall. Of course, Akito gets pancakes, because why wouldn't he? And they all gawk at the portion sizes. Okay guys, they can't be that big. Miku, Len, and Kaito come to check on the four of them over breakfast, and they get the grand tale of how VBS ended up here, along with some background on the university itself, courtesy of Toya. Professor Lloyd's comment from the previous day also has Toya in his head a lot, wondering if his dad spent his mornings doing the exact same thing that they're doing now. While Professor Lloyd teaches his classes for the day, VBS decides to check out one of the alleyways behind campus that he recommended to them. Apparently, Harumichi went there often as well. The back streets are filled with performers of all genres. Jazz, pop, folk, classical, you name it. VBS is really amazed with how all of the different sounds blend together, yet still remain distinct. Toya thinks this place is a little similar to Vivid Street. Aw, I thought they might find a corner of the alleyway to sing in. Oh well, back over to campus we go. Professor Lloyd promised to give them a tour of the place after all. While they walk, the professor asks Toya if he'd like to hear more about what Harumichi was like as a student. Of course Toya agrees, and the others use his story time as an opportunity to try and improve their English listening skills. Harumichi's presence at the New York Academy of Music spread like wildfire. He was the top of his class and then some. Pretty much everyone had heard of his talent after the first week of classes. Lloyd decided he wanted to try and befriend Harumichi, but actually tracking him down was near impossible. The guy was basically a hermit, either in one of the practice rooms or reading books on music in the library. He rejected every person who tried to talk to him. Then, one day, Harumichi sought out Lloyd himself. As a prank, Lloyd took one of Harumichi's pieces and made a jazz arrangement of it for funsies. Toya recalls a time where his father berated him for playing a piece incorrectly because he didn't grasp what the composer intended behind such a song. Harumichi hates improv and changes to music. This little prank probably did exactly what Lloyd intended it to do. Well, actually, the exact opposite happened. Lloyd and Harumichi began to talk more often after that. In Lloyd's eyes, Harumichi is a classical musician through and through, but he also loves other kinds of music. Both Toya and Akito are shocked to hear this. Toya's choice of pursuing another genre of music is exactly the reason the two of them fight so much. Toya explains this to Professor Lloyd. In truth, street music was just starting to gain traction when he and Harumichi were students. There were people who excelled at it, but like anything, there were also people who gave it a bad reputation. Professor Lloyd and Harumichi ran into a bunch of entitled kids who denounced every kind of music that wasn't their style, especially classical. Harumichi got really mad, and thus became the thing he swore to destroy. After a bit more chatter about how stubborn Harumichi can be, Professor Lloyd asks if VBS would like to have a little session. They spent so long talking about all these different kinds of music, and how the university has a place for every genre, so why not give it a try for themselves? Professor Lloyd calls over some students playing in the courtyard and asks VBS to join them as vocalists. Oh my god! They start singing that song from Rad Blast. I was not expecting that. I guess the song is mostly in English, so it seems like the best choice given the situation. The students told VBS to start them off, and they join in after getting a feel for the sound, and wow, the whole accompaniment joins in at the same time and leaves VBS shell-shocked. More and more instruments jump in, changing the genre again and again. Orchestral, jazz, house music, traditional Chinese instruments, literally everything you can think of is blending with Vivid Bad Squad's song. It's really inspiring. Somewhere along the way, Toya's brain divided music into categories. They were completely separate in his mind, but hearing what just happened completely shattered those walls. Musicians want the same thing. They all work towards beautiful sounds, no matter what the path they walk looks like. The students ask VBS to keep singing with them, and of course, they agree. Well, the first stop on the VBS America trip is a resounding success, even if it was a little bumpy at first. I wasn't expecting all of the lore on Harumichi here, if I'm being honest. It's just like him to make his son go across the world in order to learn more about him, I guess. I also said I'd talk about Haven a bit here in the outro, and my feelings on the song are even more solidified after reading the event. People talk about Rekka and Ultra Sea and Fuel as the generational run of VBS commissions, and then Haven comes and ruins it. But Haven isn't supposed to be like the other 3 songs of this rotation. It's supposed to be new and different, because Toya is exploring music that's new and different. I don't know, just my 2 cents. Next up, VBS has to deal with some strange Sekai shenanigans. The second round of World Links kicks off with turning pain into drive. I'll see you then.